welcome. Today I want to talk about dilation for being post-op. I know a lot of people are afraid of dilating after vaginoplasty, and for me I found it's really not something that's such a big deal. Honestly, a little difficult at first, but easily adopted to and dealt with over time. And there have even been times when I haven't had the ability or the drive to do it routinely as much as I should, but I haven't had a big problem from that. Maybe I'm lucky. It could be. So, starting off after surgery, I had to dilate 3 times a day for 6 months. And then for another year, it was twice a day. And then after that, it was once a day. And then eventually it got to the point where now, years later, once a week is really enough. I found that after the first year, most of the healing had happened. And after the first 2 years, it was in such a condition that dilating maybe once or twice a week was adequate to keep from losing the thing. This is my dilator set. So starting off, we went to the small one. This is, I believe, 1 inch and 1/8. Then moving up to 1 inch and 1/4. 1 inch and 3/8. And the final one, 1 inch and 1/2. Now, I would have kept going up if I could buy dilators in larger sizes at a reasonable price. However, the only dilators I found in larger sizes are outrageously expensive. So, your best bet is to either make them yourself with a 3D printer, or possibly, which I'm considering doing myself. The other option is just to go to the sex toy route and try to find larger sex toys that you can use that will stretch you out further than this. But this is adequate. You really don't need to have more than this. Having used this dilator, even having very, very well endowed partners, I was perfectly fine. The skin stretches and it wasn't a problem. I had to use this one for maybe 4 months, 5 months before I stepped it up to this one. And that was maybe, again, another 3 to 4 months. This one I used probably for a good year before I switched up to this one. And this is the only one I use now, for years now. It's been over 14 years since my vaginoplasty, so things are obviously completely healed. They're not changing very much. When I had my full vaginoplasty, my depth was about to there. It's now about to there. And that's all I've lost for being a very bad girl and not dilating as much as I should at times. So I feel like that's still adequate, although it can be a bit painful with men with larger penises. Just not having, there's not a lot of flexibility in the depth, I should say. There's flexibility in getting wider, but not so much flexibility in the depth. And so that can be kind of painful. Overall, though, I enjoy dilating. I know a lot of women find it painful. I am really grateful that I am not one of them, and I think it's quite pleasurable, honestly. I feel like it's something I've been waiting to have for so many years, and even before surgery, I felt like I could feel my vagina before it was even there. So I had a phantom vagina. Unlike having a phantom penis, which I've had problems with after the labiaplasty. But there's really not a whole lot to it. You just have to keep up with it. My preferred lube is coconut oil. At first I used the glycerin-based lubricants, water-based lubricants. Those did not work well and tended to cause a lot of bad smells because they just sort of start to rot inside of you, whereas coconut oil is an antimicrobial naturally, and that's something you really want. You want the antimicrobial. Also, if you have issues with smell, another thing you can use are boric acid vaginal suppositories, which are easily available in the market. I use those once every month or so, and that helps a lot. Keep the acid level up. I had a penile and scrotal inversion vaginoplasty and with a full thickness graft by Dr. Marcy Bowers back in 2015. If you have any questions about any of this, please put them in the comments and I'd be happy to answer you. I hope that you have a wonderful experience dilating. I hope you find it incredibly pleasurable. And I hope finding the time to do it is easy and your life does not get in the way, because you're important, your body's important, and you have to care for yourself. So do care for yourself. I love you. Aloha.